Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So let's check out how foreigners make Finnish people uncomfortable unintentionally in Finland. Okay, so let's go check this out. I really want to know. Drop your thoughts on the comment section, right? And let's head straight to this.
So you're now in Finland and you're ready to meet and connect with those Finns, but you don't want to make them uncomfortable, right? Because there are 10 things that you can do unintentionally and make Finns uncomfortable. Let's find them out. So what do you do if you see a Finn that you would like to talk to? You can do what the rest of the civilized world does and say, "Hi, how are you?" But if you say that to a Finn, this will happen. Just kidding, we are not that awkward. But the thing is that how are you is maybe not the best choice. Because in English, it's very common to say how are you just to greet a
Yeah,
stranger and get
that's
the
true.
conversation going. But the thing is that here in Finland, we see it as a question, not necessarily a greeting. So in other words, some Finns may think that they have to start explaining themselves to you, a complete stranger, because we see it as a question. And on top of that, Finns can be quite blunt and honest. If you ask a complete stranger how are you, you may get any of the following. I'm good. I'm okay. Absolute f***ing shit, just lost my job. Great, I just banged a prostitute. Actually, the last one happened to me. I asked this and I got this from my complete new neighbor. And don't get me wrong, we use how are you all the time, even in Finnish, but it's good to understand the viewpoint how we address this how are you. And remember, it's absolutely always worth opening a conversation with a stranger in Finland. Because in the best case scenario, you could find your best friend for life. So don't overthink when meeting Finns. So educating yourselves on the basics of Finnish history is always a good thing. We appreciate it. And you may already know that Swedish is still the second official language here. That's right, even the street signs are in both languages, Finnish and Swedish. And that's because we used to belong to Sweden for like around 500 years until the beginning of 19th century. And we still have this like friendly rivalry going on. We make jokes of each other, we tease each other, but hey, that's part of the neighbor Nordic relationship, right? And I guess this happens with any neighboring countries in the world. However, some Finns may still feel a little bit sensitive when it comes down to Sweden. For example, if you say stuff like, Swedes are sexier than Finns, Sweden is better in ice hockey, Swedish music is awesome. And note that this last one is not even a comparison, it's just a statement. And saying any of these may piss off some Finns and may get you the Finnish face of disapproval. Looks like this. By the way, don't mix that up with the Finnish smile, which looks like this. As for me, I'm not really that sensitive. I know and I admit that Sweden is definitely better at some things. Let's just take one random example. For example, accumulating wealth. There was an article from Helsinki Sanomat comparing the average net worth development between Finland and Sweden. And in the year 2000s, they were quite even, but now, 20 years later, the average Swedish household net worth is more than $300,000, and in Finland it's measly 168,000 US dollars. So the point is that be careful when it comes down to comparing Sweden and Finland. Some Finns may get offended. So while in Finland, it's a good idea to pick up some Finnish language, at least some essential phrases and words. It doesn't only help you to get by and get around, but also to connect with Finns. Especially you want to focus on the pronunciation. English speakers pronounce sauna sauna. You know, sauna is the pinnacle of Finnish culture. You want to pronounce that right. Sauna, not sauna. There's no sewing going on, you know? And I believe it was last year when there was this NHL games held in Tampere and they were interviewing this one NHL player, American. They pronounced that Tampere, where the city where the game was held, Tampere. And don't get me wrong, we are not like super nitpicky about every small detail, but the things that we appreciate it if you can just pronounce some important words in Finnish the correct way. Important words such as Kimi Räikkönen, Nokia, salmiakki, you know the Finnish licorice, kahvi, coffee, jääkiekko, ice hockey, and so on. And you will instantly gain the Finnish respect if you can nail down the pronunciation. So how do you find the correct pronunciation? You can just use Google Translate. The translation function is of course still under development, but the pronunciation is still quite okay.
Kimi Räikkönen.
So you can just quickly use that to find out how the things are pronounced. By the way, if you're interested in learning Finnish but you don't know to start, check out my free Finnish for Dummies 5-day email course, link in the description. And of course, you are probably aware of the Finnish personal space. Important especially in the public transport like buses, trains and trams. And if you take a look at these photos, you can definitely see how Finns apply this personal space in public transportation. And if you look closely, people like to sit by themselves and it's very rare to see two seats taken if there are other seats available. And heck, in trains, this applies to 4 to 6 seats groups. So what Finns do is that they will try to find that group of seats where there's no one, and they will start to sit next to someone when it's absolutely necessary to do so. So if you sit next to a Finn when there's other seats available, that could be a potential Finnish nightmare. And I think the reason is that we are so used to sit on our own when there's space available. Even if you could sit next to no one, they may think that you are sitting next to them because of them. You know, they may overthink like, hey, why is this person sitting next to me when there's other space available? And as I said, Finns will put extra effort to find that free pair of seats or group of seats, even if they have to go all the way to the back. Another possible explanation is that the seats are a little bit cramped, especially for me. I'm a tall guy, like 194, 6'4", I guess, in inches. And especially in buses, the leg space can be a little bit limited. So if there's no other choice than sitting next to someone, then you just have to do it, especially in the rush hours. But keep this in mind. We Finns are a bunch of friendly people, and we're actually quite open about different topics once we get to know you. But there is one topic that we don't even talk about with friends, and that is religion. And as a Finn, I was having a hard time coming up why. What are the reasons? Why don't we talk about it? And I actually found some good articles on this topic by the Finnish broadcast company, and there was two main reasons. And first of all, we Finns don't really talk about intimate topics or problems in general. And one of the reasons for this was the history we have had. For example, after the wars, it was encouraged just to move on rather than just dwelling on the past and the problems. Secondly, and the most interesting reason in my opinion, is that the religion has become professional, according to the article. So we think that professionals, like the church, is the one who should do the talking about religion. And there's a good concrete example, like when we become like 15 years old, we go to this school called Rippikoulu. This is like the Finnish confirmation school, and it's around 80 hours of classes and activities regarding church and religion. I have also done that as a kid. So we believe that, okay, church and maybe schools also, when they teach religion, it's their job to do the teaching and talking about this topic. And as a Finn, I definitely agree, especially during my adult times, I have never spoken about religion with my friends, for example. And there was an additional interesting point that Finns believe in afterlife. Many Finns believe in afterlife, but we don't really like to talk about it. Pretty contradicting stuff, right? So bringing up religious topics can be awkward for Finns. And if you're a religious person, you like to talk about it, there are such people also in Finland. So you just need to find, maybe attend the local church, find these groups of people who like to talk about it, and that's where you can find like-minded people. So when going out and about in Finland, you will notice that we have a lot of elevators and escalators. And fun fact, one of the biggest Finnish multinational companies, Kone, produces both of these. I guess we are somewhat proud of that company as well. But the thing is that we have also some rules when it comes down to riding escalators, and even some Finns mess this up all the time. There are some people who just block the entire way of the escalator. And there are some people who are in a hurry, they want to kind of boost their way up there or down there, but it's impossible because these people are blocking. And the thing is that because we are sometimes so awkward, we don't dare to tell like, hey, excuse me, can I get passed through? Even if our life depended on it. So when riding the escalator, always take the right side so that the people who are in a hurry can pass through on the left side. Pretty simple stuff, right? Let's say you're working with the Finn, they're doing great work, you give them a compliment like, hey, awesome job, man, well done. A typical Finnish reply may be, it was okay, wasn't 100%, could have done better, So the thing is that we Finns don't know how to handle compliments. And it's a bit sad because compliments are the simplest and most straightforward way to express gratitude and even interest. But the thing is that we Finns are a little bit too shy and too reserved, and we always try to avoid boasting. Like boasting and bragging off is definitely not seen as good. And receiving a compliment may sometimes feel like, even if it wasn't. So should you avoid complimenting Finns altogether? Absolutely no. Please give compliments when it's reasonable to do so. And I think we Finns and Finnish culture definitely need more compliments. Please give them if there's a genuine reason to do so. Because I have also done it sometimes, and it definitely makes our day because we are not expecting those compliments. Same goes for dating. If you see someone interesting you would like to get to know, compliment is a great way to open a conversation and express some interest.